Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reacts where today we have ourselves a track from an act named Disco Inferno Cult titled Riddle of Ash, and if we switch over to here, apparently this track is off of their latest album titled Per Aspera Ad Inferi, and it's going to be good to check out the song. We're going to listen through it from start to finish and we're going to hear what we think. Let's do it, let's go. Oh, I love that build there.
Shadows flame. I carved your name on a frozen stone, a flame that weeps, yet stands alone. Through mirrored skies I sought your gleam, a thread of silk in a shattered dream. Your wings a shroud once brushed my core, now dust on winds I can't restore. Deep. Your gaze a blade of silver frost cut through the night, and I was lost. I offer a rose to an ember stone, its petals bled on a fractured stone. You turned away, a silent tide left me to drown where secrets hide. A dawn that slipped away, a king of cinders, a heart on hold. You stole the light from my fractured soul. A riddle of ash, my fleeting muse, a crown of thorns I can't refuse. In the quiet roar of a buried sea, you fade my love, but still by me. The stars are blind, mute, a broken heart but severed loose. In the silence where embers sigh, I'll love you still, my dark goodbye.
In the heart in the silence where I love you, my dark goodbye. The lyrics are mysterious, they're poetic, but they're also kind of vague, so it'd be interesting to sort of like hear the rest of the context to this. Nice to have an alternate lead here though.
Final
See that part? Sorry to interrupt. I was trying not to do it too much, but that's that part where we adjusted that final chord for the repeat. It's just really good in terms of developing a theme and keeping it fresh. I appreciate we had that little bit of tension and adjustment there.
You stole the light from my fractured soul. In the abyss where echoes play.
Oh, we're going for another round.
The dawn that slipped away. A king of cinders, a heart on whole. You stole the light from my fractured soul.
Good. So I'm not necessarily sure that I can connect how the video relates to the subject matter aside from it being people dancing along to it, which is cool. It's a very interesting ending here with the lady with the robotic hands. It's kind of intriguing. We're going to talk about this track more in the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named Disco Inferno Cult off of the Per Aspera ad Inferi album titled Riddle of Ash. Now, what do I think this track is about? I think it's about someone who has been making pacts and sort of like mystical agreements, and they talk about the place where it with the souls and like echoes, etc. Like there's a lot of mysterious sort of like fantasies, kind of sci-fi stuff going on here lyrically to sort of, I think, add a bit of sophistication and theater to it. But effectively, what I think it comes down to is almost like we're trying to figure out why the person decided to take the life from our soul in the first place. It's trying to sort of like just figure it out. And that's effectively what it came down to within this. And I think that is handled pretty well across this track. I think this was a song where we were very comfortable with its main theme, and we were comfortable with repeating it for 3 or 4 times. And thankfully, we did adjust as we went through. I feel like 5 minutes 45 for a track where I think a lot of its length was designed to facilitate the more of the story there. As a listener with the first impression, I don't necessarily feel like I got more value out of having the track as long as it was. I think that you could have potentially have cut one of the choruses and gone into like that interlude piano part a bit earlier, and maybe had the track under 5 minutes, gone to that halftime part later on. That would have been really cool. But I still appreciate, one of the things I like is that we had the solo sections within it, that we had the moments with those piano elements there, the lead parts there, the melodies, the alternative points to the main vocal lines. So I feel like it was good to have those different colorations between in the mid to high register and amongst everything else that was going on. I think the 80s sound to like the production, the polish with like the reverb tails on the drum kits, like in those quieter verse sections, they're taken away those guitars to add a sense of kind of like focus on the rhythm of the coordinates with the bass line humming along underneath as we had more focus on those vocals for the more sort of like the context provided was a smart move. To bring it up in the chorus, to have those guitars on the side, there's maybe some synth parts as well, was really clever because it adds a sense of like kind of, again, like a grandiose kind of like drama to it. Like we're really trying to like not only add dynamic range, but really put emphasis on the hook lines that we have within it and the other parts connected. And I think that that's important because it just makes the track more interesting, even if we were to do it like many times we did, to a point where I'm not sure if we needed to have as many of the chorus. It's just it's a subjective thing for me. Because when you're in that 2 to 4 minute sweet spot, like where if it's less than 2 minutes, then you might miss important context. If it's over 4 minutes, you risk running the theme one too many times. What we did well, in addition to having the bass and sort of like drum parts kind of like be more sort of like focused in those verse elements, was again simply just having the keys by themselves at later half, allowing those to be their own identity within the track. Like, what I'm trying to say is not just that we had enough development to keep things going, to kind of keep it fresh, and that we added those different solo sections and stuff like that, but it's also that when we had the individual components of the track, they each had their own personality. They blended seamlessly through one another. The individual guitar, bass, drum, synth, piano elements, they all allowed space for both the vocals when they were required, stood well enough on their own, ample foundation for another lead like the guitarist or the synth parts or keys. And it was nice to come down a little bit when it was required in order to like decrease the intensity and add a sense of adjustment, especially when, again, we had the drums going a bit slower to have that breakdown in the end. I think as well, the melodies that we had vocally were good, and I think that they harmonized really neatly in amongst everything else going on with, again, the different guitar harmonies, the chord progressions, etc. They had a great sense of rhythm phrasing with the drum parts underneath there, with the different kick, snare, and sort of simple patterns there. And I don't think there were any issues at any point with hitting those notes the way we needed to, and I'm glad that we had distinct melodic sort of like concepts for each part. It's tricky with a track like this to provide sort of like constructive feedback, because I feel like there was dynamic range, but it mostly came from taking instruments away. It seemed like we had several really cool ideas that we wanted to get the most real estate out of that we could, or the most mileage out of. And I think that it's difficult to really sort of like have constructive criticism towards this, because I didn't necessarily feel emotionally invested in this track. And that's potentially a really crucial detriment to this review. But what I mean is, I listened to the story that was being told, and I just didn't really feel anything that I heard it. It seemed like it was a very measured performance there that didn't really vary the expression that much. And even though there was fry occasionally, and there was like a change in mood between the chorus and verse parts, it still seemed kind of flat overall. It was like it was very sort of like controlled, whether it was in the post-production or just with the person singing those parts themselves. I suppose I would have liked a little bit more emphasis on the actual anguish that the person was going through, and I would have liked more feel from the vocalist. They can sing, assuming this is a person singing this, they can sing quite well. It's just there needs to be more sort of like personality behind it for me to feel invested, I suppose. But that's purely a subjective thing. Ultimately, I feel like most things are well handled within us. Fundamentally, it ticks the boxes. And aside from the comment I made on the actual length of the track, and it maybe could be benefiting from having one length of the verse and chorus less, I still feel it was a good effort. So thank you for watching my review of this track from an act named Disco Inferno Cult, titled Riddle of Ash, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go show them some love via the various social medias and the YouTube page, and stay cool, stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next SP Reacts. Spiderhands out.